Oh, now look at it. Now look who it is.
Hi.
Could not imagine a better person to show up right now, too.
Huh? Hmm? Oh.
Oh, looks like you already know what I'm going to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that makes things easy then.
Eh.
I got a new job testing parkours, but this time it needs to be done within a time limit. Sounds pretty dope, right? But also, like, lots of work. I might even start sweating even. Who would have thought this job could be so hard? You'd imagine that running around as an avatar wouldn't really exhaust you. Anyway, what do you say? Wanna help me do this?
Or sandwiches. Mm-hmm.
Sweet potatoes. Alright, let's see. Okay, here we go. Just walk through this point like last time. The timer will automatically start and you'll have to finish it before it runs out. Pretty simple stuff, really. I'm sure you can handle it. What the?
Yeah.
Oh, went back this way.
So, yeah, it was unfortunate. It was unfortunate that the Star Trek Museum got liquidated. For a while,
It's unfortunate-ish.
when I found out that it
sort of thing
happened, I
is
started
not
noticing
exactly.
tons of eBay listings for actual Star Trek props, and I was wondering what's going on. And then I was like, oh, you know, they're actually officially selling off the work there, or maybe people had bought things and then they were trying to sell it again at auction, or
Forgot. Go right through this. This sucks.
So, speaking of like 4D, do you think the 3D craze is going to eventually dissipate? I think we've discussed this before,
You mean
but
movies?
yeah.
Oh no, next. It's just going straight to VR. We're gonna have VR theaters pretty soon.
But then what's the point of cinematography then if people are going to determine the cinematography? It seems like it would only really be a good platform for video games, where you're
Platform for
already in
video
a 3D
games?
environment.
Action movies. There's definitely some action movies where being able to see everything would be really cool.
But wouldn't you have to be on rails and it would be very jarring?
Chances are what it would be is you would be a almost a impersonal observer. Wow, that looks so taxing, but you pulled through. And you didn't even break a sweat. Do you work out or something? And nothing weird happened, right? No sudden strokes or anything?
Mm-mm.
My boss will be thrilled.
Hmm.
Thanks so much. Again, you really nailed these tracks. We make a good team, don't you think?
Ah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, right. I'll do my report now. Until next time.
Hi. Right, she did get by. She hasn't used it much.
Let's
Oh, hey.
get up to that item.
Yeah.
Like, and might be
Something tells me you
easiest.
have to go on that one rock ledge over on
Yeah,
the right
definitely
and then
not
jump
coming
down.
from up here. But yeah,
VR might add reason. Yeah, I find that watching a movie a couple times over, it allows you to draw your eyes away from the central action and see what background characters or even just small details of things that were in the environment that you hadn't been focusing on before. Goats are funny. They just defy gravity and climb wherever they please. Well, at least regular goats don't shoot horns at you. Ah! I love goats. Goats are probably my favorite farm animals.
oh, that missed completely.
They're so adorable. And they're so friendly. Even if that amicable, like initial first impression is just because they want to nibble on your clothing.
Is that friendly?
You've had goats nibble on your clothing, right?
I don't wear that like flowy of clothing to begin with. Oh,
They don't necessarily need to go after flowy clothing. If they find the rim of your shirt and it tastes good, they're gonna put it in their mouth.
I guess I usually wear fairly tight clothing so they don't really get the rim of it. But also I'm not around goats that often to like.
I suppose I'm drawing upon my experiences working at summer camps where you're tending to farm animals. They never tore anything. Some
Okay,
some
we
part
might
of me
actually
almost
have
wondered
to...
if they just liked tasting or teasing on it. I don't know. Teething, I should say.
We might actually have to retire this controller to like... So only you have to deal with it. It does butt bumps.
Butt bump? What?
Yeah,
What?
the goats do butt bumps.
Oh, I see.
They throw their horn and they butt bump you.
Well, I mean, their butts are made out of metal, so...
Oh. Well, there's one quest done.
Level up! Yeah!
Okay. How did I got this move? Is this also a dash move? I guess it is. Question mark. Assoil nearby enemies. Shield.
But yeah, for the most part though, I think that because films require cinematography for staging a scene, it would make more sense for it to still be a 2D experience with one view. Whereas video games, most definitely, you already play them like VR.
I bet it could be pulled off really well. Like,
well, I noticed that they actually had that first-person shooter video game inspired movie on Netflix. Though what was it? Something Henry?
Yeah, I don't remember the name of it.
Hardcore Henry?
Yeah, Hardcore Henry.
Yeah. Because that was just a first-person action film.
Yeah, I have no idea if that was actually watchable or not.
I think it probably made people disoriented.
Probably. I mean, movies like that, you rarely feel that good to watch. I don't know.
People are saying it was meh. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was just an action movie, but without any of the, like, I'm gonna call it tension of, like, John Wick felt like... John Wick was a good movie before and after the shooting. Like, you could take out much of the shooting and it would have been still watchable. Stuff like Hardcore Henry doesn't really feel like there was much of a vision there apart from we want it to be first-person shootery.
I mean, I suppose they were trying something different.
Yeah, and
it was sort of
I respect
akin
that.
to how the Blair Witch Project and Cloverfield and a couple other films were. I think they call it found footage. Is that what it is?
Maybe.
Where it was a kind of rough documentary. Well, not even documentary, but the found footage is, yeah, if someone had just picked up their home camera and were filming it within the context of the story. And now that was the only surviving
Yeah,
record.
I know Cloverfield is famous for that one specifically.
Mm-hmm. But I think I've never actually seen the Blair Witch Project. But that was about, students that had gone off into the woods and they get stalked by...
Yeah, I know almost nothing about it.
Mm-hmm. Oh. See? She's talking about how they have goats all over their zoos. It's like when we visited Budapest and we got to see all the goats.
Okay, so we can buy beverages. Oh, they're pricey. Why are they so expensive? I guess actually I have quite a lot of money. The damage up. Oh, the sweet berry teas. These are actually pretty helpful. I don't know if I want that much. Want to spend that though. Is there actually any real thing here? Or just kind of people hanging out?
Wait.
You get quests here after you beat the temple mine. Not seeing anyone new though. Okay,
So-
nothing really that helpful.
Are fewer people entering the game, or what's going on?
Don't know.
Huh.
Okay, so we do have a cave there. And we have the frozen cave, but we couldn't go into that one. Okay, well we want to go back to Rookie Harbor. I might have to go get some food. Like
Well, what's the expression? Hangry?
Yeah, I'm definitely hangry.
Angry hungry.
Yeah, I'm definitely angry hungry. Really? No quest? I was hoping these guys would give me a quest.
Also, we didn't really have an official dinner. I made myself a dinner.
Yeah.
Which was rice and the leftover pulled beef with stir-fried vegetables and sauce.
Okay, we're getting the pikewood now. And we're getting the bergen ice. Okay, so we are actually getting some of these done. Maybe we just, maybe we just don't have anything else here. But yeah, no, I'm in, like, double, distractible mode, and I feel like you're only paying half attention. So, like, I'm barely...
I'm only paying half attention. I admit I am getting distracted by the fact that there is so much dialogue during...
Yeah.
Yeah, just during their exploration of the world.
Yeah, it's just... I know the instinct is always to read it, but it's just like, most of it doesn't even matter.
Some of it has interesting lore tidbits, but some of it, that's why I'm going to be a little bit more discerning between what's necessary to say and what's not. I'm also still wondering if she just has a sash, or if she actually has a tail.
Oh, her?
Yeah.
It might be a sash. What's her name again? I've totally forgotten it.
Emily.
Oh.
It looks like maybe a sash on the right side of her hip.
Yeah. Let's see if there's any art of Emily. I was actually, when I was trying to make the thumbnail for this, I was trying to find, like, any, like, really fancy looking art. There's almost nothing, actually.
I mean, there's been, like, some fan art and stuff. I know that you had me drop something that you might vector, so...
Yeah, but, like... What is that coming off her waist? Yeah, it's just kind of like a side cloth thing that wraps down. Because if you notice, it's actually... It's kind of like a really long version of what, Guardians have in Destiny.
Yeah, it really is just kind of a sash.
Because that's definitely not her hair.
Mm-mm.
She has too short of hair, and you would see it in the, portraits when talking to her. Maybe? I think so. Party. Is there... Can we look at her? Contact. I can talk to her even though I'm directly next to her. Yeah, no, her hair is definitely not that long. Oh, here,
yeah,
Shell.
Oh, everyone's been drawing her with a sash. I think it's a sash.
Have some dialogue.
Oh.
I'm gonna go figure out food.
Okay. Rec link. I just press A?
Yeah.
Hi. Hey, Leah. Why the DL? I mean your party, non? That was it. Well, it's because you're standing right next to each other. Why do you need to direct message? Oh. Okay, stop recording. But now we're back. His mouth is currently obscured by Cookie.
Come on, Frost, keep talking.
Okay.
You are not in a talking mood right now. I'm more talkative than I have a cookie in my mouth. And I have
I think it's because I was distracted by chat a little bit. Where they're talking about MMOs. Yeah. Speaking of MMOs, I suppose WildStar is going to be shut down soon.
Yeah, shutting down at the end of November.
November?
Yep.
And I remember being so psyched for that game, what? Back in,
It could have been good.
What year was it? Probably 2013 or 2014? When they were actually, like, first really advertising for it. I was like, yes, finally, a sci-fi MMO. How many sci-fi MMOs have there been that weren't, say, Eve? I don't even really consider that the type of MMO I'd ever be interested in playing because it's all about ships. But I suppose there's Tor.
There's Tor, there's Lord of the Rings Online, there's...
No, I'm talking about sci-fi.
Oh.
Like, sort of like, or sci-fantasy, I should say. The thing about Star Wars, though, is, I mean, I absolutely love Knights of the Old Republic and Star Wars and such, but I suppose I'm just always looking forward to seeing new worlds and new intellectual properties. Just so that, you know, there's new lore that you can delve into, new alien races, new planets and stuff, new worlds. It's just interesting.
The problem is, like, it had an interesting setting, but it barely
ran on my laptop, and then...
Well, I mean, to be fair, that was just us being poor art students.
Yeah. But then there was also just lag. When I did attempt to play with you after it had been finally... the thing is, they had started off with a subscription, and then they went free to play within a year. How did that work?
It was like a year or two, but effectively, WildStar kind of wasn't... They were profitable in the beginning. It was relatively popular.
The animated shorts were hilarious.
They had
really
they
well
had
done.
a lot of style. They had a lot of good ideas. The problem is they had a bunch of like early problems from the get-go, like lag problems, like you said, population problems, design issues.
It was implied that NCSoft pushed it through way too swiftly.
Yeah, and that's oftentimes what happens with publishers. They want that money now, and they're not as interested in the game being amazing, as long as it's successful. Which is stupid, because NCSoft is almost one of the...
It has a ton of MMOs under its belt.
It's got a ton of MMOs under its belt, so you'd think they would realize this by now. They're also the one with the most amount of failed MMOs under its belt, as far as I know. Like, they will publish
aside from
anything.
Guild Wars, which I know that ArenaNet now has, like, Guild... I think you can still log in with an NCSoft account to access at least the original Guild Wars.
Yeah, Guild Wars 1 still exists.
They're still the publishers.
Yeah.
But... yeah, what are the other ones that they might have? Is Blade and Soul one of theirs?
No. Blade and Soul, I believe, is Perfect World. I could be wrong. But they had
what about
Ion?
Ion, yeah.
Yeah, they have Ion. They contacted me about covering that, and I was just like, no.
I remember when this was back when I could only dream about playing MMOs.
Oh, I know what we're
because
doing on Saturday.
What?
We're doing Mass Torio, and then let's do a flash mob and dumb MMOs.
A flash what?
Flash mob.
What do you mean?
Effectively, everybody loads up an MMO, and we make the ugliest human beings possible.
Oh, you just want to play one of the MMOs where you have...
I want to... Ion, Blade and Soul, you know, Black Desert Online, you know, those games. Were effectively like
Black Desert was another one that didn't run on my computer.
Yeah, well, your computer at the time was garbage.
I personally prefer when there's some... I don't want to say necessarily a cartoony stylization, but I prefer it when the characters aren't hyper-realistic humans. I don't like that.
No.
If you know what I mean?
It looks weird.
And
the only one I'm like kind of
Korean
okay
MMOs
with is the
just...
Final Fantasy one.
Yeah, the Final
and
Fantasy
Terra. Terra had the kind of semi-realistic people, but they had the relatively interesting races.
Right, whereas I just noticed with Korean MMOs, it's just really...
It's weird plastic doll people.
Yeah, and not to mention, I really don't like it when there's like the whole boob sliders and jiggling going on all over the place.
Admittedly,
like,
I normally don't like boob sliders either, but if I want to do this where everybody loads up an MMO just to play for like an hour or two, like if everybody loaded up Blade and Soul on Saturday night with me, you know, 20, 30 people, and we all make horrifying, hideous, creepy monstrosities and just wander around as a large group, like, I think that would be great. Like, imagine you're a new player to an MMO. I'm like, hey, let's check out Blade and Soul tonight. You know, some friends have been talking about this. Let's check it out. And you walk into the starter zone, and there's like the 30 of the most boardy, horrid-looking folks wandering around, speaking in space French, and, like, hogging the mobs. Not even really trying to progress, just, like, there. Like, that's what I want to do. It's not a good example, but 4chan used to do this thing called where they'd effectively raid locations in like Club Penguin and Habbo Hotel. And it was awful because they'd usually say some pretty racy stuff during it. But it always seemed like the concept behind it, you know, having these people effectively in this zone, just there, not doing anything, not playing the game, just existing in this space, is like really amusing. It's kind of like if
it's one thing to collect a bunch of people in a forum and talk. It's another thing to have
a bunch of people just
representations of them in a game.
Well, it's like if we all hopped on a bus and then didn't get off. We were just on that bus, start to finish, and standing around, and we just like unilaterally kind of subtly decide one person to stare at. Like, imagine if you walked on a bus, you sat down, and you realized all 20 people on said bus are looking at you. Like, that'd be pretty weird, right?
Yes.
I want to do that in an MMO. Where, like, no one can really stop you. Because, like, if I did that on a public transportation
Wait, you mean you want to creepily follow just
one
random
person.
Players?
One person, yeah.
Hey.
And...
that'd be liable to be reported.
Yeah? Probably. Did someone say raid Club Penguin? Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say we should actually raid Club Penguin, because that got shut down. I think it got shut down. I don't know if they're making another.
Club Penguin?
A bad game.
Oh, okay. Were the characters penguins?
Everything was penguins, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we're looking for caves around here, by the way.
Okay.
You should mildly help me find that.
Sorry.
And all the secret things that you totally said you'd help me find.
I was distracted.
You need to get your head in the game.
MMOs.
I know. Okay, discontinued in favor of Club Penguin Island, March 30th, 2017. But yeah, I just like the idea of, like, kind of what we did when we were doing the original Guild Wars 2
when we
nights,
were playing Guild Wars 2
where we just had like 30-40 people just hanging out and doing whatever.
Yeah, that's the thing. I felt like with our World of Warcraft series, it was, I mean, we got a couple players.
It's a sub.
It's a sub-based game.
Yeah, and like at this point, I don't want to pay sub fees for games anymore.
Yeah, that's true. I suppose there is the justification of you pay just as much to go see a 2-hour movie, why not have endless hours of entertainment for a month for the same price? But at the same time, yeah,
But at the same time, I have so many video games that I already get
games to play. Yeah.
that experience for. The idea of paying a sub fee for an MMO, just for one game?
And there's the other thing, too, where sometimes whole communities, well, not whole communities, but sometimes a group of friends go, hey, we're going to jump over to Final Fantasy, and then, wow, and then it's like, oh, but then, you know, people have to switch their subs or stop subbing for a game or...
Yeah, and like, if people were really motivated to do that, I'd love to do like some kind of roving community thing based on what people want. But that's hard to do. I have to say that
probably one of the more successful free-to-play games at the moment was probably Guild Wars 2 when it comes to MMOs.
Yeah, relatively. They made some missteps recently. I guess they've been a little bit better, too.
I think the only thing that petered out for me is...
Well, I don't like soloing the game.
Yeah, it became more difficult to solo content. And I know that that's the point of an MMO, to work with other people.
If I want to play a hard game, I'd rather actually play a single-player game.
I mean, then again, that's probably because I was using my Elementalist
The thing is, like, MMOs by nature are grindy. But if you want grindy to be fun, you either have to, like, provide the social situation where, like, people are constantly teaming up and stuff, or you have to,
I like it, though, how there has been a trend towards cooperation as opposed to competition, because it used to be terrible when you were trying to acquire the same RNG items from a number of spawns, and someone else would... What was it? What was the term? It's not that they would kite an enemy, they would tag it,
yeah, they would tag it. And so they'd be the ones to get the,
They'd be the ones to get the loot.
Yeah.
So obviously more difficult for melee characters to tag things and whatnot. But now they're having it that anyone that participates in killing a creature gets loot from it, which is nice.
Yeah. But, like, lots of MMOs have been doing that. WoW was just a holdover.
It was a holdover, and then they finally changed it up.
Yeah, we could do it in WildStar, go out with a bang. Maybe?
We actually do have WildStar. I have to figure out... maybe I could use my NCSoft login now that I think about it. Probably.
How do we get over here? So, one, I need to get onto this block.
Recovery.
Oh.
Huh?
No, probably not this.
Yeah, because I think I had an RN character, a Draken character, a Mordesh character, and... Did I mention Makari? Maybe. So,
No, I don't think you did.
okay. Yeah, because those are the ones I liked. I wasn't too thrilled with the Chua or the Granok. And I very rarely ever play humans in MMOs if I can. It's one of those things where I'm already human. If I'm playing a game, I like playing as a different race for the lore opportunities and for the design. So, for instance, if anything has bizarre skin colors like green or purple or blue, yeah, that's awesome. But then also, I really like horns. I always think that that's an interesting feature. So, unfortunately, that means that you end up getting like the demonic or the fawn-like, but at the same time, I'm a huge fan, as I said before, of like deer and goats and whatnot. So, I mean, they do serve as the basis for a number of either sylvan entities, or, I mean, it's very unfortunate that ghosts were pegged as, you know, demonic a long, long time ago. Goats didn't do anything wrong.
Oh, goats. I thought you were saying ghosts, and I was like...
Ghosts? No.
Oh.
That's one thing, though. I don't like the idea of playing undead things. I suppose the Mordesh were an exception because... Oh, you got it.
Well,
Oh.
yes and no.
Where's the other button?
There's no other button, it's a time limit.
Oh, yeah!
Yeah,
The tricky
got
lazy
it.
bridge. Oh, she's gonna keep jumping in the water and killing herself. That's terrible.
You fool.
Wait, is that a cave?
No.
Oh,
No.
down there on the left.
You really need to pay attention. I just walked through that.
Oh, sorry.
You are so out of it, you're not even aware of what I've
That's
been doing.
because when I think of things, I visualize them. So unfortunately, when I'm thinking of various fantasy races and such, like, okay, yeah. So the whole thing with the Mordesh, though, was, yeah, sure, they were decaying, but they were also keeping themselves alive with cybernetics. So that was a unique twist.
You're very dedicated to this dead MMO.
No, it's one of those things where I was talking about, like, what races and class. I hadn't discussed classes, but like what I had, because we were going back to the whole maybe we should try playing it before it's gone again.
See, the thing
kind of
is,
thing.
like, with all MMOs, it's time consuming, and like the idea of actually
Yeah.
trying to play it, especially before it's gone, sucks.
I feel
Now-
really bad for all the people that spent so much money getting in-game items and such. What happens in those instances?
Poof, gone. And any and all the money that we pumped into those games, gone forever. And people are mad about it too. Like there was
we
a.
never paid for anything with WildStar though because we
I
decided
think I paid like $10 for a skin.
Oh.
Oh well.
Oh, maybe you wanted to get the hoverboard.
Yeah, I think I got a mount and a skin. Like I got some kind of like pack, or maybe we already had the money for it. We might have actually gotten.
It might be something that they had started off with. We definitely got it. We were part of the beta, or at least I was part of the beta for a while, and then we decided to do it free to play when the subscription finally was dropped.
Yeah. Yeah, like the day or week of. The problem is, like, they didn't really fix some of the underlying issues. Specifically, like, the quests were kind of dull, and the whole game was very, very grindy. And, like, I wish when an MMO died, instead of dying, what they do is they just say, hey, this is now, like, a closed lobby system, you can buy a server for it. We won't support it, but like if you want to get access to and play this game.
Well,
like remember how we were playing
One thing I wonder is for MMOs, why don't they make it that you can just transfer it into a single player system where you can experience all the
because it's too much work.
Oh.
Which is stupid because
it'd be nice if you could just convert it so that it would be a standalone game and you can complete all the content. And sure, maybe you can only play online with a couple friends that like link your games together. But other than that,
oh come on,
why lose the game forever?
Because the publisher, owner, whatever doesn't care. They're not interested in
I mean, some people don't necessarily need the game to constantly have new features and such. They just want to explore and experience it once. It's no different than a single player
But
game.
again, the publisher developers don't care.
Yeah.
MMOs are giant money sinks, and the idea of trying to single playeritize these games is tough. And they don't want to lose control like that. Especially if they make like a sequel or any number of other things.